Finding Fairways on Up North Sports Radio, brought to us by carlsgolfland.com. A brand new season of Finding Fairways, our 10th here in 2024, and I'm joined by my longtime co-host. Always have different co-hosts now, but Kevin and I did the show for a number of years, just the two of us. And Kevin, welcome to golf season 2024. Wanted to get your take on what your vendors and clients have been talking about. You were at the Orlando Golf Show, so a lot of interesting news and thoughts about what's going to happen in this year's golf season.
Clients.
Yeah, I'm actually outside of Austin, Texas this week at Horseshoe Bay Resort, which is a beautiful place about an hour northwest of Austin on Lake LBJ, which is a huge reservoir lake that feeds out of the Colorado River, and 72 holes of golf, and it's 80 and sunny down here, so it's been fun to get out and play a few rounds.
I know I talked to you about it after the Orlando Golf Show. Tell our listeners a little bit what the feeling for 2024 golf is on the professional side, on the retail side.
It's been incredible. A few years ago, obviously after the pandemic, who'd have thought that a pandemic could light the fire under golf that the way it has, and people have been waiting for a slowdown to come, and it's just not happening. Retail numbers are still going up. Golf rounds are still going up. You're not seeing any drops in that. The overall popularity in the game, it just continues to grow, and it's fascinating and it's wonderful.
Yeah, you take a look at it and you're wondering if there's going to be a bubble, but it certainly doesn't look like it's going to be 2024.
No, it certainly doesn't look that way at all. And even last year, the rounds were up last year, but there was some weather that impacted rounds too. So yeah, if we happen to get a year where we have those days where we are not impacted by weather, we could see golf rounds still going up this year too.
Oh, the feeling up here in northern Michigan is a lot of places are planning at least 2 weeks ahead of their normal opening times, and very excited for an early spring. We haven't had spring golf, April rounds, even with the boost from the pandemic, have been low because of weather here, even in May. So if we get solid weather the second half of April and into May, you will see record numbers for a lot of the resorts and the courses that we know so well.
Yeah, that's exciting. I mean, it's been great. The resort properties, our pre-bookings are growing still. It's really neat to see.
Speaking of bubbles being burst, though, it looks like professional golf is reaching a serious tipping point. Kevin, you and I were kind of sketching out what we were going to talk about here, even as we lead up to the Masters. Both guys that are playing in Liv and guys that are on the PGA Tour understand that ratings are down. People aren't watching. People aren't excited, and they are getting worried.
And worried they should be. I mean, it is. We are seeing a transformation going on in golf right now, and you can go back 60 years when the PGA of America or PGA Tour was created and broke away from the PGA of America. Yeah. Now I don't believe it was as hostile as what we're dealing with here, but the PGA Tour is on the hot seat right now to try to make something happen, and it just seems like they're kind of stumbling here, trying to figure out what they're going to create, how they're going to use the public investment fund with the Saudis, and then bringing in the Fenway Sports Group, and how does all that look like? I mean, you're going from a nonprofit entity to all of a sudden a for-profit entity that you have to have a return on investment. And so there's lots of questions out there on what's this new tour if they come together, what's it going to look like, and how is this Fenway Sports Group going to get earn a return on their investment for the product right now, which, as you mentioned, TV ratings are down. Golf is very hard to watch right now. It's really we have to watch every weekend. We have clients in the golf industry who uses products. So we have to kind of keep the TV on and keep watching it. But I'm going to say it is a really hard watch right now. And a lot of it, it's not so much that you don't have the greatest players in the world, which that would make the product even better. But there is just so much commercial time going on right now that
Oh God,
you
yes.
can't, it's hard to focus on it.
No, that's an excellent point. It'd be nice to have the limited advertising that we always see at Augusta next week on the television. But man, you're not kidding. It seems like you get 5 minutes of golf and 5 minutes of advertising. And it's incredibly difficult to watch. They Liv has a contract with the CW, but the TV affiliate in Traverse City would rather run paid advertising. They have created their own show because they make more money because nobody's watching Liv. And trying to get that on my computer is next to impossible. I don't understand what Liv's business model is at all.
They're well, number one, it's trying to buy the players, but yeah, the ultimate end game for them is they want to just be involved in golf and they want to be a big part of it. And how this looks, and if the tour doesn't get something figured out soon, how long is it going to be before they decide to go pick off a few more players and these players start getting impatient on the tour and they say, you know what, I'm going to take the money.
I mean, that's what Rahm did after being, one of the biggest spokesmen for it. But, especially since they know that this agreement's coming sooner or later and they'll figure out the world ranking points and these guys are going to get back into the majors and they're going to get back onto the Ryder Cup teams. I'm sure just about everybody or nobody sees a downside to becoming part of Liv. And they've left Rory McIlroy out to dry, and the other superstars on the PGA Tour side aren't playing like superstars. JT is not looking good. Spieth's not playing well. Rory has not played well.
Right. Outside of Scotty Scheffler, I don't think any of the other winners are inside the top 20. And now, granted, I mean, is the golf quality? Yeah, they're playing good golf, but you're not having the brand names up there at the top that draw in TV viewers, and that's a challenge. And another thing, we're talking about how TV ratings are down and this model changing, the elevated events. What happens to the smaller tier events when the John Deeres and the Rocket Mortgages of the world go to re-sign these deals and they're only going to get one player in the top 30, and that changes the model too. And it's a tough situation right now that they are in. And if you don't have the top players playing well, that's not a good product.
It's not a good product. I mean, you can see how the defections to Liv have affected the leaderboards and the TV ratings. And I have to caution you about how great play has been. Yeah, Scheffler's been great, but like last week, he couldn't make a birdie coming down the stretch. The play was, average at best. It was, you were just waiting for one of those guys whose names we barely recognize. And you and I are in the business. I can't even imagine what Joe, normal TV golfer, was thinking. It was like Major League. Who the hell are these guys? I don't know them.
No, they're all coming from the Corn Ferry Tour.
Yeah, exactly.
It's fascinating. And the other thing regarding TV rankings that people really aren't talking about much, it's TV ratings have been dropping and nobody's talking about Tiger Woods being part of that reason. Tiger Woods is the reason why TV ratings were what they were for 15, 20 years. And we're going to probably see really good ratings at the Masters because it's a major. And if Tiger can play 72 holes, it'll have high TV ratings. But when he finally shuts it down for good, that's something that's going to impact TV ratings.
Yeah, but 3 years ago when we were in the pandemic and we hadn't created Liv yet, TV ratings were really strong because everybody was playing well. DeChambeau won the U.S. Open and it was a compelling tournament. And all the guys, Cameron Smith at St. Andrews, I mean, there was great golf and TV ratings were strong without Tiger. I mean, Tiger showed up but never even made the weekends. So
Right.
this defection has blown up what looked like we had the generation to replace Tiger.
Yeah, no, you're definitely right on that. I don't know what's wrong with Rory. He's got Rory and Jordan and JT need to go figure it out, and they need to figure it out quick. And who knows? The Masters is always, the first major of the year. That's always something that will kickstart players and get them going in a positive direction, and that might happen next week.
It might. Rory keeps talking about his driver swing being conflicting with his iron swing, which I obviously he's in his own head because this never used to be a problem. And all of a sudden it is. And, of course, then it'll affect his putting. I mean, if he's a non-factor or God forbid, doesn't make the cut at the Masters, which is all he needs to win the Grand Slam, boy, his mantle is gonna lose a lot of luster.
I don't think I've ever heard of a player at the professional levels saying, I have a driver swing and I have an iron swing. I've never heard that before. I mean, it'd be like a pro showing up with a tee with two putters, a long putter and a short putter.
Well, I mean, Phil did come to the U.S. Open once with two different drivers.
I take what I just said back. He is one person that it would not surprise me if he ever said that.
There's no doubt about it.
Speaking of Phil, and let's talk a little bit about next week and what we're going to see at the Masters with these Liv players who we have not really watched. We've not really seen what the talent, how are they playing, and you've got guys like Dustin Johnson and Koepka and Cam Smith who all play well at Augusta. How are they playing on Liv and what's their games like now? For most of us, we would kind of know how they're playing by watching them every week on the tour and where they're finishing, but we have no idea.
No, like I said, I tried to access the tournament 2 weeks ago and got all this runaround from buying it through YouTube, and it never came up. Now, I now have Liv Media Golf credentials, and they sent me their tour package because they're playing at Trump Doral this week. And I have to admit, Kev, the package was great. It was like 26 pages, broke down everything. I couldn't even follow it all because, like you said, didn't know exactly what's been happening to this point. But I give Liv Media that part of it, thumbs up. But living in outside of Traverse City and not being able to watch it because they don't want to play it on their CW line, and I don't want to pay $29.95 for a 3-day pass to Liv, which is essentially what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see, how they play. I mean, we had no idea how Phil was playing last year, and he's runner up. He was runner up last year. So it'll be interesting to see how these guys are. And I know they're all fired up to play well because they know that this is their time to showcase themselves because nobody ever sees them. So I think as this Liv thing continues, it's going to make these majors just that much more interesting because of the players that you have coming in from Liv finally together with the PGA Tour players and the competitiveness that's going on between them. It's going to make for some dramatic TV for golf.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. We had this exact same conversation last year. I can't believe it continues to go on. As we came down to the end of Finding Fairways last year, Kevin, we thought we might see a resolution here, but the negotiations are going nowhere. When we return here on Finding Fairways on Up North Sports Radio, we'll discuss how Jay Monahan will either sink or swim going forward here into the new world of golf. Also, some interesting things I want to ask Kevin Frisch's comments about the return of Anthony Kim. All that and more here on Finding Fairways on Up North Sports Radio, brought to us by carlsgolfland.com.
It's time to check in with our friends at carlsgolfland.com. Jerry Coyne on the phone with Tim Coyle. Tim, I know we're just starting our new season of Finding Fairways, but you guys have been at it since January 1.
Yeah, we do have an off season, but it tends to be almost just as busy as sometimes when you're in seasons. But yeah, we're rocking and rolling over here. We're we've been shipping across the country here all off season for us in Michigan.
You sent me some notes about a lot of different exciting apparel lines you guys have added.
There's been, they seem like they keep coming out of nowhere, and all the stuff that it keeps coming is wonderful. New brands like that you'll see some of them on tour, extracurricular, municipal, that you've seen some of those, Red Vanley. We've had Grayson for a little while, but we have that online now for people to shop as well. Some of the Grayson apparel, just some really hot brands to, freshen the wardrobe.
Yeah, and I was down there last week. We're going to start filtering in some of the fitting sessions that I did, but I could not believe how busy the store was in Bloomfield Hills last Saturday. You might as well have free beer out on the out on the wall.
Yeah, it's been kind of a slower start with the cooler weather, coming into April, but people are itching. They're ready to go, and obviously with the first major coming up, now's the time, and it looks like we're gonna have a little break in the weather here coming up. So that's when everybody's gonna start going, getting their fittings lined up, just like you have this year. You got nice and early, and then we're off and going.
Yeah, and then next week you'll have all the Masters, the free shipping for the Masters.
Yeah, so just like many of the majors, we have some sort of promotion going around most of the majors, and this year's no different. So yeah, we're going to start free shipping this Monday site-wide, so no minimum purchase on that. So that's a big perk. And I think what I've heard is that there's going to be some sort of flash sale towards the end of the week, maybe around when the tournament starts. So something to look forward to there.
Yeah, no doubt. Your flash sales are always fantastic. Tim, thanks for joining me. We're looking forward to a huge, exciting season of golf on Finding Fairways, brought to you by Carl's Golfland.
Thanks, Jerry. Looking forward to it.
Robert Trent Jones Sr., Arthur Hills, and Donald Ross are some of golf's architectural masters. When you play the Boyne golf courses they designed, you'll feel like a master too. Our 10 championship courses are world-class, and you'll never run out of world-class activities when you end your round. From a relaxing spa treatment to a spectacular dinner with million-dollar sunsets and everything in between. 10 courses, 3 resorts, only one Boyne Golf. Start your experience at BoyneGolf.com.
Hey barbecue fans, this is Ian Murphy from the Iron Pig Smokehouse in downtown Gaylord. We've got a brand new menu for you to try, all our classic favorites plus a few new additions like egg rolls, smoked whitefish wontons, Texas Twinkies, pot stickers, and more. We're open 7 days a week for lunch and dinner at 11 a.m. and serve breakfast Saturday and Sunday beginning at 9 a.m. Visit ironpigsmoke.com for all the current happenings including live music, karaoke, and open mic. And don't forget to risk it for the brisket.
Who knew? Fresh air is a destination. Breathe in the glacial carved canvas of northern Michigan's finest golf courses and have your breath taken away by scenic vistas from tee to green. The perfect place to perfect your game in more ways than one. The waves, woods, and wonder of Bel Air. Escape every day. Discover the magic of 90 holes at one resort. Shanty Creek Resort in Bel Air and online at shantycreek.com.
Phoenix Facilities Management is the leading building services contractor in lower northern Michigan, providing a wide range of building services. Whether your company is looking for a janitorial, building maintenance, or a single source for facilities management, they offer cost-effective solutions for every situation. Call them today to schedule a walkthrough and a quote at 989-390-4647 or visit on the web, pfmmi.com. That's pfmmi.com. Black Lake Golf Club in Onaway is the most pristine, immaculate, and peaceful golf experience in Michigan. The award-winning Reese Jones design has no houses or condos, no traffic, just perfectly manicured golf at the 9th best valued rated course in the nation. Fantastic lodging on site, a pre- and post-restaurant your group will love. Black Lake has it all. Throw in a cool 9-holer and a country club-style range, and you have golf at its finest. Visit blacklakegolf.com.
Twin Birch Golf Club is getting ready for a fun and fantastic golf season. There are openings on the new Thursday night Sparks League, perfect for beginners. Twin Birch has many membership options that will keep you on the course all season long at an affordable price. The brand new Twin Birch Clubhouse and restaurant is open daily. It's got a huge bar, great food, and live music Wednesday through Saturday. Visit twinbirchgolf.com or call 231-258-9691.
Welcome back to Finding Fairways here on Up North Sports Radio, brought to us by carlsgolfland.com. Jerry Coyne, continuing my discussion with my original co-host, Kevin Frisch. And Kevin, as we were saying before, Jay Monahan has got to figure this out soon, or maybe, just maybe, if you read the tea leaves right, maybe the PIF guys and the Fenway Investment Fund are trying to make him look inept and putting him on the hot seat, because why can't they close a deal here?
You know, I think a lot of it comes down to format. I think there's been a lot of argument about format, that Liv does not want to get away from team golf, and that the head of the Public Investment Fund loves the team golf concept and wants it put into play. And I think they'll compromise on it to some degree, but I think you've got PGA Tour players that can't stand it. You've got shotgun starts. I think there's a lot of issues with the format, and what would they be? How are they playing? I love some aspect of team golf. And I think that they could come together and create some model that involves, maybe playing elevated events and majors throughout the year. And maybe it's a season ending, kind of like a team type concept race for 6 weeks that you do around the world in some way, shape, or form. I think that if they figured out a way to do a team concept similar to what the NCAA championships are for college golf, where you have a best of 5 match play singles situation, I think it would be fascinating to do that on the tour level and merge it somehow, along with the FedEx Cup.
Yeah, when we kicked this around last year, we figured it would be like World Golf Championships, right? They would just, what those WGC events had been will become Liv events, and then you'll see both of the guys getting in there, and what Liv will have to, those guys will have to play 4 rounds of golf with starting tee times. And I guess it would be easy enough to form teams on the PGA side, except for who's going to get in these events and who's not. It's going to fluctuate event to event, especially on the PGA side.
Yeah, I think they would have to look at changing the format of the FedEx Cup. I think it would have to be a matter of, when you do the playoffs, the final tour championship would be 72 players, not 30, and then you take those 72 players and you create 12 teams of 6, and then after the tour championship you do like a 6-week run with 4 stroke play events, with the teams keeping all the scores like they do in Liv now. But then the final 4 teams go to a next week where they do a final 4 team match play playoff for like $50 million that the Public Investment Fund can put up.
Well, they better have to do that, because if anything like that comes about and the Liv players are not allowed to play on the PGA Tour, then you're still going to have the same problem we outlined in the last segment. The Rocket Mortgage and some of these other lower events are not going to have any star power, and it's going to shoot big holes in the PGA Tour schedule.
It is. That's a big part of where the issue comes in. I mean, Dean Beeman was 40 years ago or 50 years ago, he was part of, the tour breaking away from the PGA of America. And he knew that the only way the tour events could work was bringing in the charity component, creating that 501c3, getting the communities involved, earning that, making that money and giving back. And that model worked for a long time, but now it's like, well, now it's got to stand on its own two legs and it can't hide behind a nonprofit. And there's so many moving parts to this. These lower tier tour events, I mean, do they become the Corn Ferry Tour of today? Is that what that does? Or do you create a model where those events become playoff events every week, where you have spots into these elevated events for them to have a chance to be part of that run, whatever it might be.
If you're going to secure the ratings that you need to have, then you're going to have to allow a certain member of Liv into some of these events. And then you have to take a look at what Liv events are in conflict with some of these other. It's so intense. I don't know if they'll really be able to figure it all out. I really don't.
It's very difficult. I don't envision Liv existing once they ever get a deal in place that it becomes one entity and they come together. I think there's going to be some kind of combination of team play with tour events, and Liv would cease to exist once they get a deal done.
There's some jokes running around, and I'm sure you've heard them. That is all. What's the head of the PIF? I don't know his name. I keep forgetting.
Oscar?
Yeah. That the only thing he really wanted to do while he created this whole thing is so he can get in, become a member at Augusta.
Well, his first mistake was saying he wanted to be a member at Augusta, because we know how they work. You don't ask to be a member. You don't let the world know you want to be a member.
Yeah, well, it took Bill Gates a few years to become a member after he said, well, what does it take to become a member? And they say, don't ask.
Right, exactly. It's the Augusta National story is always fascinating, and it's we're ramping up for another great Masters, I think, this year, regardless of all the outside stuff going on. It's always going to be fascinating when you bring in those great players from Liv with us. And Scotty Scheffler's playing great. I think you'll see Jordan and JT and Rory. I think they're going to figure something out and be in the mix. Maybe not all weekend, but they're going to figure something out.
Well, they're going to have to, and that's one of the things that I wanted to discuss in the next segment. I know we talked about it briefly, but what exactly is going on with JT and Rory and Jordan Spieth and Xander Schauffele is playing okay, but Colin Morikawa has completely disappeared as well. I don't know what's going on with the high echelon players on the PGA Tour.
Yeah, I agree. I think I think one thing is they're all having families now. They're all building, they have kids, they have other things. It takes away from the amount of time you might practice. You tend to see that on the tour when the players start having families and young kids and doing things, that there can be a small drop in performance. So it's all balancing life and work and play.
Yeah. And as we could tell, even these billionaires who are trying to put this all together have trouble balancing these two tours. And so balancing schedules for great players is going to be a problem. When we return on Finding Fairways on Up North Sports Radio, we'll discuss the field at the Masters and will we see one last great charge by Phil Mickelson? All that and more here on Up North Sports Radio's Finding Fairways, brought to us by Carl's Golfland.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, juniors and seniors, lifelong players, Just beginners, club members, truck slammers, righties, lefties, slicers, hookers, high faders, big hitters, short game wizards, walkers, riders, varsity captains, 12-year-olds who just want to beat their older brother in golf, 82-year-olds who want to shoot their age again. At Carl's Golfland, we've got you covered. Head to toe, tee to green, with clubs, bags, clothes, shoes, and accessories from the world's best brand names. Men's clothes sizes small to XXL. Shoe sizes 7 to 16, narrow to extra wide. Ladies' clothes sizes extra small to XXL. Shoe sizes 5 to 12, narrow to wide. Free club fitting and state-of-the-art practice facilities, so you can try it out here before you take it out there. Carl's Golfland, land of golf plenty. Bloomfield Hills and Plymouth at St. John's. Visit carlsgolfland.com.
Phoenix Facilities Management is the leading building services contractor in lower northern Michigan, providing a wide range of building services. Whether your company is looking for a janitorial, building maintenance, or a single source for facilities management, they offer cost-effective solutions for every situation. Call them today to schedule a walkthrough and a quote at 989-390-4647 or visit on the web, pfmmi.com. That's pfmmi.com.
When you're looking for a new golf getaway destination, Cadillac, Michigan needs to be on the top of your list. You have 9 tremendous courses to choose from, all of them within 20 minutes of dynamic downtown Cadillac. Each course has its own unique charm and playability, but they all offer the natural beauty and amazing hospitality you'll only find at CadillacMichigan.com. 2 resorts, dozens of stay and play options, and online discounts. Your next golf trip starts at CadillacMichigan.com.
Black Lake Golf Club in Onaway is the most pristine, immaculate, and peaceful golf experience in Michigan. The award-winning Reese Jones design has no houses or condos, no traffic, just perfectly manicured golf at the 9th best valued rated course in the nation. Fantastic lodging on site, a pre- and post-restaurant your group will love. Black Lake has it all. Throw in a cool 9-holer and a country club-style range, and you have golf at its finest. Visit blacklakegolf.com.
Twin Birch Golf Club is getting ready for a fun and fantastic golf season. There are openings on the new Thursday night Sparks League, perfect for beginners. Twin Birch has many membership options that will keep you on the course all season long at an affordable price. The brand new Twin Birch Clubhouse and restaurant is open daily. It's got a huge bar, great food, and live music Wednesday through Saturday. Visit twinbirchgolf.com or call 231-258-9691.
For a century now, historic Grayling Country Club has been a must-play destination for the northern Michigan golfer. Open to the public, Grayling Country Club is known for exceptional conditions, narrow fairways, challenging greens, and its location on the beautiful Asabo River. The local stockholders keep the public golf rates affordable to make sure you have enough left over for a 19th hole celebration with family and friends. One of the best rounds of the year is waiting for you at GraylingCountryClub.com. Welcome back to Finding Fairways on Up North Sports Radio, brought to us by carlsgolfland.com. Jerry Coyne and Kevin Frisch discussing the PGA and Liv Tour and Augusta on our debut show for 2024. Kev, what did I see? Is it 16 players from Liv that are getting in this year?
I believe it's 13.
Okay.
And then there's 6 that are green that have won the Masters that
right.
Will get in every year. But yeah, there's 13 Liv players that'll be playing at Augusta this year.
So
and Joaquin Niemann, who got the invite, which was very cool.
Yeah,
he's playing great. So look out for him.
Yeah, you're right. That's was there an explanation on how he got an invite?
Yeah, he won the Australian Open.
Right.
And then he won an Asian event. And Augusta National has always been big on inviting international players and wanting to grow the game worldwide. And I thought it was ironic that the statement that Chairman Ridley put out about Joaquin Niemann's invite and why never mentioned, one win that he had on Liv. It only mentioned that he had won the Australian Open.
Right. And I don't know if it will
But
be.
Joaquin Niemann's playing as good as anybody in the world right now.
The going back, well, we'll continue our discussion with the Masters for a couple of minutes. You know, Rahm won the Masters last year as a member of the PGA Tour. Now he's coming back as the defending champion and hosting the Champions Dinner as a member of Liv. And I just wonder how this will all kind of swirl around the Champions Dinner, all his press commitments. Will he be wearing any of his Liv gear? You know, some of these guys have been showing up and wearing their logos when they cross over into the majors. Most of them have not. So all that subtext is going to be interesting to watch.
The press conferences on Tuesday and Wednesday are going to be must-see TV.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
And it'll be interesting to see how the Augusta National press room kind of handles that, what they might request, if they do request anything. I know obviously you're never going to stop a reporter from asking any questions whatsoever, but it'll be interesting to see the types of answers these Liv players get when they get all of these questions that are going on right now out there, and it's going to make for some interesting TV.
Yeah, although you might just see the same stuff that we've seen now for the last year. You know, I don't know what's going on. They don't tell us anything. You know, I just go. That was what
right.
That's what Koepka keeps saying, right? I just go where they tell me to go. You know, and when you're a hired gun, it's just like being Jesse James. Okay, they paid me my $100. I'm going to this town and shoot the sheriff. So, I mean, that's kind of what it's turned into.
Well, it has when they signed at the bottom line. You know, just reverting back real quick, I think that's going to have to change. I think when all of this comes together, the Fenway Sports Group and the Public Investment Fund, once it officially becomes a for-profit entity, I'm not sure these players and the top players in the world will be able to continue to remain independent contractors like they have for forever, at least to the same extent that they are now. There's going to be some major requirements on their part to play in certain events.
Yeah. Well, when you're talking about the dollars that they've already gotten paid to play, and I think, Kevin, if I'm not mistaken, every one of those guys signed contracts that were 5 years long. So most of them are in over a year now. I mean, obviously, Rahm's only in for a couple of months, but DJ and Koepka and those guys that all jumped in, you know what? They got 3.5 years left.
Right, exactly. You know, we can't even talk about the Masters without back to it's pretty interesting. You know, some of the players I think to look out for, though, I think Wyndham Clark is playing great. I look out for him. He hits it a long ways, and Hideki Matsuyama's been playing really well too. Another past champion. I think look out for those two.
Yeah, there's a few guys that I would look to seeing playing. You know, it'd be interesting to see like how Pavon plays. You know, he came out of the gates, was the what is he now in second place on the FedEx Cup. Hasn't played in a few weeks, but man, he played some really good golf at the beginning of the year. We haven't seen him in the last few weeks, so I don't know what that's about.
Right.
And on the other side, like we've talked about before, you think that you might see some improvement from JT and Jordan Spieth. What's happened to Matthew Fitzpatrick? What's happened to Colin Morikawa? Has Morikawa even finished in the top 10 this year? I don't think so.
I don't know. I don't think he has. A lot of these guys, it's the putter though.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of these guys just aren't making putts. My off. I don't know if he's off the radar. Off the radar, but this player, Ludwig Bear, is going to win multiple Masters. You heard it right here. This kid is so good.
We talked about him last year when we were doing our Ryder Cup show, Kevin. He played brilliantly at the Rocket Mortgage. I think that was the first time anybody had ever heard of him. I think he finished in second or third place.
Yeah.
And then won a couple of events on the DP World Tour, and bingo, he gets the invite for the Ryder Cup. And yeah, he's got it all. He looks a lot like Wyndham Clark, as a matter of fact.
They play similar. They play similar games.
They do.
Yeah, and he first player ever to be picked on a Ryder Cup before playing in a major.
Yeah. And this will be his first major. So
right.
He had a chance to to make it get in a playoff last week. He missed a 14-footer by not too much on the last hole that would have put him in a playoff in Houston. So obviously his game is rounding into shape a little bit. But yeah, I mean, other than Scheffler, I mean, somebody's going to pop up and play good golf.
Right.
I haven't seen the odds yet, but Scheffler's going to be the odds-on favorite to win at the Masters. He's not going to be like Tiger Woods' favorite, but probably plus 500. And I don't think anybody
I would agree with that.
And I don't think anybody else will be even half as close as that. Rory might get some love, except for his game's in the toilet. So,
yeah, it'll be interesting. I think Scheffler's a really good pick. We have seen haven't seen a past champion.
Right.
When was the last time a current champion has won the Masters? Some of these past champions, like a Phil, these guys know they almost go into the tournament with kind of an advantage of how well they know the golf course. So, it's been a little while. So look out for a past champion to come in this year and win, with some of these other players not playing to the high level.
Well, DJ is always going to be lurking. He's won there, although it was in the fall, and he did not play great there. Although I just got done watching Full Swing, and I actually, when we head into the next segment here, Kevin, I want to ask what your thoughts are on this series that's on Netflix, because the more I watch it, the more I'm torn about what they're doing on this TV series.
No, it probably gets more views than current PGA Tour events. So, I think what they're doing is kind of cool. They get behind the scenes and see how these guys live. But everybody loves stuff like that, it seems like, and so they'll continue to produce them. I have not watched this year's program yet, but I fully intend to. I'm interested to see. I believe there was some behind the scenes access to Augusta National.
I haven't seen that one yet, but we're out of time for this segment. We'll be back after these words from our fine partners on Up North Sports Radio's Finding Fairways, brought to us by carlsgolfland.com.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, juniors and seniors, lifelong players, just beginners, club members, truck slammers, righties, lefties, slicers, hookers, high faders, big hitters, short game wizards, walkers, riders, varsity captains, 12-year-olds who just want to beat their older brother in golf, 82-year-olds who want to shoot their age again. At Carl's Golfland, we've got you covered. Head to toe, tee to green, with clubs, bags, clothes, shoes, and accessories from the world's best brand names. Men's clothes sizes small to XXL. Shoe sizes 7 to 16, narrow to extra wide. Ladies' clothes sizes extra small to XXL. Shoe sizes 5 to 12, narrow to wide. Free club fitting and state-of-the-art practice facilities, so you can try it out here before you take it out there. Carl's Golfland, land of golf plenty. Bloomfield Hills and Plymouth at St. John's. Visit carlsgolfland.com.
Phoenix Facilities Management is the leading building services contractor in lower northern Michigan, providing a wide range of building services. Whether your company is looking for a janitorial, building maintenance, or a single source for facilities management, they offer cost-effective solutions for every situation. Call them today to schedule a walkthrough and a quote at 989-390-4647 or visit on the web, pfmmi.com. That's pfmmi.com.
When you're looking for a new golf getaway destination, Cadillac, Michigan needs to be on the top of your list. You have 9 tremendous courses to choose from, all of them within 20 minutes of dynamic downtown Cadillac. Each course has its own unique charm and playability, but they all offer the natural beauty and amazing hospitality you'll only find at CadillacMichigan.com. 2 resorts, dozens of stay and play options, and online discounts. Your next golf trip starts at CadillacMichigan.com.
Black Lake Golf Club in Onaway is the most pristine, immaculate, and peaceful golf experience in Michigan. The award-winning Reese Jones design has no houses or condos, no traffic, just perfectly manicured golf at the 9th best valued rated course in the nation. Fantastic lodging on site, a pre- and post-restaurant your group will love. Black Lake has it all. Throw in a cool 9-holer and a country club-style range, and you have golf at its finest. Visit blacklakegolf.com.
Twin Birch Golf Club is getting ready for a fun and fantastic golf season. There are openings on the new Thursday night Sparks League, perfect for beginners. Twin Birch has many membership options that will keep you on the course all season long at an affordable price. The brand new Twin Birch Clubhouse and restaurant is open daily. It's got a huge bar, great food, and live music Wednesday through Saturday. Visit twinbirchgolf.com or call 231-258-9691.
For a century now, historic Grayling Country Club has been a must-play destination for the northern Michigan golfer. Open to the public, Grayling Country Club is known for exceptional conditions, narrow fairways, challenging greens, and its location on the beautiful Asabo River. The local stockholders keep the public golf rates affordable to make sure you have enough left over for a 19th-hole celebration with family and friends. One of the best rounds of the year is waiting for you go at to a 5, 6, 7 stroke win there.
Well, nobody has had the strokes gained tee to green that he's had in the history of them determining what strokes gained are, and it's been fascinating. I mean, his strokes gained tee to green were better than Tiger's.
Yeah,
almost better than Tiger's in his prime. I think I read somewhere, and if he went through that low with the putter. If he makes anything, if he strikes it like he has been, and he makes anything at Augusta, he will win the Masters because nobody is hitting it tee to green like him right now.
Well, maybe since we don't know what they're doing on Liv.
Yeah. Well, you still in Augusta, the green complexes at Augusta. That's the X factor.
Yep.
You have to make putts there to win, and you can't have 3 putts. But his short game, his chipping and putting, along with his putter are at the highest level. So, I think from that aspect, he is the guy to beat next week.
I wanted to bring up a couple of different isolated areas. Like I said, I asked you about Anthony Kim. He's kind of showed up on the Liv Tour after 15 years away from the game.
Yeah, I think it was 12 or so, somewhere around there. Injuries, addiction problems, unfortunately.
Yep.
I thought it was interesting that, Liv gave him this contract. I think it was somewhat of a PR stunt to do that and to bring him in. I mean, he's got a long ways to go to get back to that level that he was, 15 years ago. I'm not saying he can't get back to, being able to get a card and play on the PGA Tour. But I don't think he'll ever be the player he was 12 years ago.
He was exciting, man. He played so well in that Ryder Cup at Valhalla that, he was going to be the next superstar.
Yeah, he was. And unfortunately, life gets in the way. It's sad. You root for him. You want him to come back and just coming back and getting his card in to be able to play on the tour would be a miracle.
I don't know if miracle's the word, but yeah, it's going to be a long shot. Another kind of grab bag item that you and I haven't discussed is, what is NBC going to do for a lead color guy? Because they let Azinger go. Azinger's contract expired, and I
Yep.
guess a lot of people, especially during the Ryder Cup, pointed out some inaccuracies that Paul was saying about some of the players, and NBC kind of used it to push him out. Now they don't know what to do in the booth there.
But in the current environment, they can't find anybody right now. They're struggling.
Yeah, they tried to put Brandel in there, which breaks kind of the mold. You want to have a major winner in the booth, and that's why David Faherty left NBC to go to Liv, is because he wanted to be the main color analyst, and NBC told him he never would be because he never won a major. And so now here he is on Liv, and none of us have heard him. I haven't. I heard him talk a little bit last year when they were down in Adelaide, but and now NBC doesn't have anybody to fill those shoes. Faxon is okay, but I don't know what major winner you go out and put in NBC's booth.
Johnny Miller, people as critical as they are of Johnny Miller are probably right now going, can we bring Johnny Miller back?
Yeah.
I mean, Johnny Miller was one of a kind, and he was awesome. And I think Phil has a lot of that in him, and that he could have been as close to a Johnny Miller as there could be. I thought Brandel did okay, this weekend, but he's, again, it's really tough to fill those shoes because you want somebody who's been on the ground out there in that situation and being able to talk about it.
Yeah, Ben Crenshaw would make a lot of sense to me, but he's probably way too busy with his design business to do it. And because whenever he's interviewed, he's always got a lot of great things to say.
He does, but I think he's too old.
It might be.
I think he's too old. Ideally, you want to find that person who's in their 40 to 50s, or maybe even, maybe early 50s at the oldest. They need to find somebody who can be in that spot for 10 years and not having to keep making moves and changes. So it will be interesting to see.
I guess they didn't like Luke Donald enough.
Right. No. He did okay. I mean, everybody does okay. Nobody's doing a bad job at it. It's just, you got to find you got to find the right person. And they're in a situation right now where that right person just isn't out there right now.
Yeah. They could have tried Norman, but that's not going to come. That's not going to work.
That will not happen. I don't think Norman was very good when he did it for the U.S. Open.
But that's because they stuck him in there with what's his name, the football guy who was horrible.
Oh, Joe Buck.
Joe Buck. I mean,
right.
You put Norman in there with Nance or with Dan Hicks. I think the product is way better.
Yeah, I don't disagree. Yeah, it'll be what they do with that. I don't rotation either. I don't mind them bringing in different people to do it. It's tough. It's tough to be consistent then that way.
The only other guy that comes to my mind might be Fred Couples, because people love him. And
you just took the words right out of my mouth.
Yeah, especially since if he doesn't have to talk a lot, you've got Tirico and you've got Hicks, and then all Fred has to do is talk a little bit about what the players are feeling and all that stuff. I think he'd be good at it. He loves sports in general. He's always engaging. It's just that I don't think he can spiel off like Johnny Miller.
Right. Well, the other side of that too is these players today are so sensitive. They all have huge egos. And you imagine Johnny Miller today ripping on the players today and backlash that Miller would get with social media. It would be a train wreck.
It's a great place to end, Kevin, because, yeah, Johnny Miller is a good thing he's not on anymore, because if he was on, he'd be barbecuing Spieth and JT, and the backlash would be enormous. So NBC would have probably had to have let him go last year anyways. After that Ryder Cup performance.
I think Johnny saw the writing on the wall.
I think you're right. I haven't thought about that until you said it. But man, could you imagine what he would have said to the guy about last year's Ryder Cup?
Oh,
oh my God!
They'd have taken him out behind the caddy shack.
Yeah. Kevin Frisch, thanks for joining us for year 10 here on Finding Fairways. It's going to be an exciting season. We'll check in with you in a few weeks.
Good, Jared. Thank you. All right. See ya.
All right. That's going to do it for us here on Finding Fairways. As we like to say, find a fairway of your own, stick a peg in the ground, and pound it down the middle. We'll be with you here next week on Up North Sports Radio. It's time to check in with our friends at Boyne Golf. Ken Griffin's on the phone. And Ken, wonderful to be back with you for golf season 2024. Tell us everything that's happening or percolating at Boyne Golf.
Well, it is April, Jerry, so it's officially spring in Michigan. And I think one of the things we're looking forward to is the Masters next week.
No doubt about it. Did you get your invite to the Champions Dinner?
No, I did not get my invite to the Champions Dinner, unfortunately. Okay. And as I guess most of the listeners didn't. So we're going to have tea time specials and lodging specials. And we can talk about those details next week on the show.
That's almost as good as getting invited to that Champions Dinner.
Well, not quite, but close. Amazing that here we are. We can enjoy fun year-round at Boyne. So, Boyne Mountain's still open for skiing. But your listeners can trust that the snow is going to melt in April. It does every April. We're going to be opening the Moore Course on April 26th, and then the Alpine, the Arthur Hills, and Crooked Trail follow on May 3rd. By May 10th, we're going to have all 10 open.
Yeah, we're very excited to see the rest of your snow melt. It's good to know that you're still skiing at the mountain.
Yeah, well, we ends one weekend and starts the next weekend. It's kind of perfect for us, And the other reason we want the snow to melt is we still have some work to do on that Dune Break course at the Highlands, Ray Hearn short course. There's still snow on it because this is the bottom of the slopes. That's melting off. We get that melted off, we can get to work on those last couple holes.
That, and you've got some work still to do on the Ross Memorial. The updates last year were fantastic. You got a few more to go.
Well, we've got 1, 2, 13, 15, and 16 done. So they're better replicated than they've ever been. And it won't be till later on this summer. We are probably going to start work on number 10, but that won't be until later on this summer.
Well, no doubt about it. You and I have been chatting for the last couple of weeks, and demand has been huge for tee times for you guys already for 2024.
Yeah, tee times and packages will run slightly ahead of last year's booking pace. So, schedule your trip and book your rounds as soon as possible.
That's one simple visit to BoyneGolf.com. Ken, so very excited to get the season going and have our weekly chat with you.
Looking forward to it, Jerry.